The elements of music. Here's just a brief introduction. No matter what the period or style, all music grows out of some combination of these basic elements. There's melody, or the tune, dynamics, which is your loud or soft, rhythm, the time. Rhythm is the ordering of music through time. Harmony, supporting the melody. Texture, thick and thin texture. Texture is based on the number and general relationships of musical lines or voices, the texture. Timbre is the color of the music, the character of the sound, whether it's bright or dark. Form, the architecture of the music, how the song is constructed, AA variation or AB or AABA, so on and so forth. And then word-music relationships, how words shape what we hear. So in any given piece of music, these elements work together really closely. By isolating and examining the nature and function of each separately, we can better appreciate their specific contributions to the music that we hear. Let's look at each of the basic elements that we were just looking at to see how it functions in this song. So first we're looking at melody. Melody is a single line of notes heard in succession as a coherent unit. The melody of the Star-Spangled Banner is typical of the way melodies in general are constructed. Smaller units, subphrases, combined into larger unit phrases, which in turn combine into still larger unit complete statements. So I always refer to a lot of our phrases in music as sentences. Sometimes that helps you to understand a little better. Some are short sentences, some are long sentences, in which each end with a cadence. A series of these complete statements, musical sentences, in effect, combine to create an entire musical work. If you're just looking at the first phrase of the Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem of the United States, it starts with a subphrase, oh, say can you see, and then another one, by the dawn's early light, then what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. You could look at it as a phrase of these together as a phrase and these together phrase, or a complete musical statement. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. You'll notice that as you click or you just scroll over these highlighted terms, that they give you definition of these terms. Throughout the book, make sure that you pay attention to those, because those are going to be important terms for you to memorize and to know. Very few melodies are entirely conjunct or disjunct. The Star-Spangled Banner is typical in combining both kinds of motion and in balancing downward and upward contours. Watch this. The notes of any given melody typically derive from the notes of a scale. The familiar do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is a scale, a series of notes that moves stepwise and covers a complete span called an octave. An octave is 8 notes. Listen to this example. The distance between each note is called an interval. The interval is in the standard scale and mostly whole steps with 2 strategically placed half steps. These are whole steps. Then from E to F is a half step. F to G whole step, G to A whole step, A to B whole step, and from B to C is a half step. Here you can see what we just listened to, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, as it moved up the scale. Higher and lower notes. upward melodic motion. The major mode of a melody corresponds to the scale produced by the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do we just listened to. The minor mode, by contrast, strikes most listeners as a darker, more somber, and less optimistic. Most of the notes in the minor mode are also in the major, but 2 of the 7 notes, the third, the mi, and the 6th, the la, are slightly lower, and it creates a very different kind of sound. Listen to what the Star-Spangled Banner would sound like in minor mode. That's cool. Now make sure you read about dynamics and read all of the information here in your textbook. Volume is a relative quality. We have different volumes in music, and we use the Latin terms pianissimo, with the symbols 2 P's for very soft. Piano, P, means soft. Mezzo piano means medium soft. Mezzo forte, or an MF, is medium loud. Forte, F, loud. Fortissimo is very loud. Rhythm is the movement of music in time. The most basic framework of this temporal ordering is meter. In music, as in poetry, meter is an underlying pattern of beats that maintain itself consistently throughout a work. So looking at the Star-Spangled Banner, you hear that it falls into a regular pattern of 3 beat units. It's what we would call triple meter in music. So it's going to feel like 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail, etc. And that music is divided into measures. As you can see that the 3 beats are divided into different spaces or measures. And the duration of notes, its rhythmic value, is indicated through the note head. The oval part of the note tells the musician the length of the note. You can see here in this music. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, etc. So these are the rhythmic values, the note values. This is a long note, very long note. This is a long note. This is a medium length note. This is a short note and a very short note. Their value is 4, 2, 1, a half a beat, and this is a 16th note, or an eighth of the beat. Eighth of the beats. These longer and shorter notes function flexibility within the broader framework of the underlying meter. Keep reading. So what would happen if you got rid of the note values and just had them all the same? It would sound like this. The individual notes lost all their rhythmic differentiation, so it's not quite as cool. Make sure you read everything in the chapter because there's more examples in there of what you can do with rhythm. All right, let's move on to harmony. Harmony is the sound created by multiple notes played or sung simultaneously. Whether we realize harmony is the sound created by multiple notes played or sung simultaneously. Let's listen to the Star-Spangled Banner with harmonization, the harmonized version, so that you'll hear the melody in the top and the harmony underneath as accompaniment. A chord is 3 or more notes played or sung at the same time or the same moment. Let's listen to this animated notation with melody in the right and the top, the chords in the left.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early
Here's the Star Spangled Banner without the melody, just the harmony. So continue to listen to all these great examples, more examples of harmony in the Star Spangled Banner. One more point is the tonic. The tonic, the note that establishes a key based on its distinctive relationship with a particular set of harmonies or other notes in the underlying scale. So, if you're playing the C scale, the tonic is C. If you're playing the G scale, the tonic is G, and so on. Texture. Texture, the number and general relationship of musical lines or voices to one another. The general relationship. It's a function of the number and general relationships of musical lines to one another. Textures can range from thick, many voices or instrumental lines, or thin, a single voice or single instrumental line. When multiple performers are singing or playing a single melody together, we call this unison. When the melody is performed with a supporting accompaniment, the texture is then called homophonic, a musical texture in which a melody is performed with a supporting accompaniment. When the melody is performed against another line or of equal importance, the texture is polyphonic, a musical texture consisting of multiple lines of equal importance. Take time to listen to this 5-minute rendition, John Knowles playing concert variations on the Star Spangled Banner. It's amazing and full of polyphonic texture. Consists of melodies that are different but sound good when played or sung together. Timbre. Timbre is the color of music or the character of sound, the character or quality of sound. The same melody can sound very different depending on who is singing or what instruments are playing. Check out this example. Now check this one out. Here's a jazz group singing it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
Here's Louis Armstrong. Or check out this London Symphony Orchestra Stravinsky arrangement. What makes different instruments sound different? The answer to this question goes to the heart of what timbre is, the quality of a sound apart from its pitch or volume. A pitch is a specific frequency of sound, the position of a sound on a range from very low to very high, determined by the frequency of its sound waves. Form. The structure of a musical work, the way in which its individual units are put together. The sections of the song. Many refer them as the verse, the chorus, the bridge. We can also label the music or the sections by phrases. One as A, when phrase 2 would be also labeled as A. The form of the first half of the Star Spangled Banner, the music independent of the text, can therefore be diagrammed as AA. And then what happens next? The rocket's red glare, that's a new section. So the form of the song as a whole can be represented as AABC. This form happens to be extremely common in songs from different times or different eras. There's many examples of that form. Words and music often seem made for each other. It's called word-music relationship. The way a text influences our hearing of the music and the way music affects our perception of the words. Structurally, the text, or at least its first stanza, consists of 3 questions interrupted by a statement. The second, third, and fourth stanzas of the text provide answers to all those questions. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? Second question, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming? Then comes the statement, and the rocket's red glare and the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Then the third question, oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? If we consider the overall structure of the melody, the tune, we can see how well it fits the words, the melody, the tune, and the words. So, in essence, all of this comes down to a framework for listening to a genre especially. Music is more than the sum of its elements. It's an experience. Continue to read on and check out all of the different instruments that we have to listen to. The word or the term genre in our title here, the category of a work determined by a combination of its performance medium and its social function. Some of the many genres to be discussed in this book include opera, oratorio, concerto, string quartet, symphony, song, and ballet. Each of these provides a set of expectations for what you, the listener, will hear.